Hi, welcome back to Mona's Take. I am your host, Mona Rose, and we are here to talk about everything reality TV. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything we have coming up. I want to welcome all my new subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for the love and support, and look forward to a wild summer of reality TV. People are acting on a whole nother level on that. So can't wait to see that karma train coming through. Choo-choo. Mood of the day. Really? You gotta give us more credit than that. Some people, buckle up, buttercup. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Alright, let's jump right into it. Last night's episode on Survivor, I had to really think about how I was going to cover this episode. And I've thought long and hard about it, and I'm going to speak from my perspective. I may catch some backlash, you might want to say, but remember, this is my take. So, as we will discuss later on in this video, perception is reality. I am still in the middle of Louisiana allergy season, so I will apologize ahead of time. I don't want to do a lot of cutting and editing, so you may hear me cough. And drink. Alright, let's get into it. They show coming back from tribal council, and Hai is very upset because he's had a vote cast against him. Romeo is the one that cast the vote, and Hai knows this, and he confronts him, and Romeo lies and says, "It isn't me." And to be honest, Romeo had 3 votes against him. If anybody had the right to be upset, it was him. But that's beside the point, I guess, at the time. So Hai automatically has a target out for Romeo. He wants Romeo gone. And Romeo said in his confessional, "Yeah, I cast the vote against him. I just wanted to see, in case I went home, I just wanted to see him get a little frazzled. And I got under his skin, and it worked." It then shows Jonathan, Roxroy, Mike, and Hai are at the watering hole. And Roxroy asked who they want to take out next. And Hai speaks up and he says, "I want Romeo gone." And Roxroy says, "Well, wait a minute. Let me tell you where I think what I'm thinking." And Hai said, "Look, dude, you asked for my opinion. I gave it. At least I should be able to explain why." So Hai explains that Romeo cast the vote against him, and then he's not in their alliance, and then he's dangerous, and then he needs to go. Well, then Roxroy pitches this all-males alliance. There's 6 males left and 4 females. So Roxroy pitches to the guys, "Hey, if we all stick together, we can vote the girls out. Be 5 strong male." I guess they weren't including Romeo in that 5 strong. But anyway. And most of the guys, Mike, he's up for it. Jonathan's up for it. Hai still wants Romeo out. So everybody's pretty much on the same page. Romeo is the next one to go, if not Tori. Well, then Jeff throws a wrench in the plans. He tells them that they're going to split into teams of 2. And then it'll be a random draw. And that not only is there one person going home tonight, but there are 2 people going home tonight. 1 from each team. The person who lasts the longest also wins food for their tribes. It's like chicken and beef kebabs that they cook back at camp. And they also get to go to tribal council second so that they can see who was voted out of the first team. So we're going to have 2 immunity idols, 2 tribal councils. They're still one tribe, but they're going to be split in two for the time being. So the challenge is the one we've seen before. It's a platform that has the triangular shape, and it's got little pegs that they have to stand on and balance in the water. Last night was very windy, or last night's episode when it was taped, it was very windy. The waves were very bad. We've already seen one challenge this season where they've killed it and started on land because the water was just too bad. Well, that's almost the way it was in last night's episode. The waves and the wind were ripping. Within the first minute of the challenge, we had like 5 people down. It wasn't even a full minute, I don't think. The teams were, the blue team was Jonathan, Drea, Tori, Lindsay, and Marianne. So Jonathan was the only male on that team. The orange was Mike, Omar, Roxroy, Hai, and Romeo. There was 5 guys on that team. So they, like I said, right off the bat, we had people bam, 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 they were out. So for the orange team, it comes down to Hai and Romeo, which to me was kind of ironic since those two are going at each other. And for the orange team, for the blue team, it was Jonathan and Lindsay. And everybody fell out of the blue team except for Hai. Hai won immunity for that team. But he's still holding on because he's trying to win food for his tribe, for his team too. The other one was down to Jonathan and Lindsay. And it was a hard fought battle. Finally, Hai drops, so it's down to Lindsay and Jonathan. So their tribe's getting food. And they fought it out, but Lindsay ended up losing her balance and falling backwards. So Jonathan was the last one standing. So Jonathan won immunity for his tribe, but he also won food. And they got to go to tribal second so they could see who was voted out first. So it shows the All Guys tribe going back to the old camp. And Mike's like, I'm not worried. I have an idol, but I'm not worried. These guys aren't going to vote me out. I'm safe. We're going to go with the plan. Romeo's going home. That's the end of that. Well, then Roxroy started talking to everybody about this All Gods Alliance. Now, Omar is like, wait a minute. Why would I sign up for an All Guys Alliance? Because I know when it gets down to the 5 of us, I'm not going to beat Mike. I'm not going to beat Jonathan. I'm not going to beat Roxroy in challenges. So why would I put myself at the bottom of the totem pole right off the bat? Romeo is like, I don't know why these guys thought that I would want to be in an All Guys Alliance. He's like, I'm not into all that male masculinity hoorah. You know, that's not me. So I don't know why they want me in it. And Hai is like, he's not feeling that All Guys Alliance either. For the same reason. He's not going to beat Jonathan one-on-one. He's probably not going to be able to beat Mike one-on-one. So, I mean, even though Hai is athletic, he's not that big of a guy. So, why would he put himself, like Omar, at the bottom of the pecking order? Right off the bat. When they have a good, strong alliance. But he goes to Mike because Mike's his number 1 guy. And he goes to Mike and he's like, we've got to take our shot at Roxroy now while we have the chance. We may not have the chance again. And Mike's like, no, 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 we got to stick with the plan. Romeo's going home. Well, Hyde just comes out and tells him. I'm assuming that Hyde comes out and tells him, well, you do what you want, but I'm not voting Romeo out. I'm voting Roxroy out. So they get to tribal, and Roxroy's the one voted out. And it shows afterwards in the credits that Mike did vote him out too. But then we saw in next week's episode where Mike's mad saying that Hyde lied to him. So I don't know what happened. I guess we will see that next Wednesday. They'll probably go more into detail. I watched the little snippet for next week, and I'll be honest, I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I have no idea what's going on. Normally, you kind of get a glimpse into what's going on, but they switched from person to person so quick that I didn't get a good sense of what's going to be happening next week. I did see that Mike was upset with Hyde. And said that he lied to him. But other than that, I don't know anything. So, it's kind of ironic that Hyde's the one that saved Romeo after Romeo has talked so much trash about Hyde, saying that he's a big snake out there, he's a big liar out there, he wants him gone and all this, but yet Hyde was the one to save him last night. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of backlash when everybody comes back together about how that exactly happened. Because Roxroy was in the alliance of the 7. And of the 7, Hyde, Mike, and Roxroy were all over there. And Omar. So 4 of the guys over there are in that 7. So how did Roxroy get voted out? Hyde flipped. Comes down to that. So we'll see some backlash, I'm sure, next week from that. Alright, then we go over to Jonathan's team. And they have their kebabs. And then Jonathan surprised me. He came out very hot and almost arrogant and like, this is what we're going to do, telling them this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, and that's the end of the discussion. He decided that he wanted Drea out. Now Drea is part of their alliance. I'm like, what are you doing, Jonathan? And he's like, she's got an idol. And the good thing is, they don't know what all she does have, because Drea has played it smart. She's kept everything close to her. Nobody knows she has all the other advantages that she has. So I'm very proud of her for that. Kudos for keeping her mouth shut, because I think that's going to save her butt in this game. But anyway, he pulls Marianne off to the side and he says, we've got to get rid of Drea. She has an idol. And Marianne seems receptive. But then he tells Marianne, but we're going to tell Drea that we're voting you out because you have an idol. Marianne's not dumb. Wait a minute. You're voting Drea out because she has an idol, but you're going to tell Drea to vote me out because I have an idol. So Marianne starts putting 2 and 2 together. Well, then Jonathan takes Lindsay to the beach to talk to her. Or he tells Drea that they're going after Marianne because Marianne has the idol, whatever. Then he pulls Lindsay. So Lindsay, the third person that he pulls out to the side to talk to. Lindsay's supposed to be his ride or die. Why wouldn't he have pulled her first? And she tells him, Jonathan, there's a problem with this plan. If Drea plays that idol, Marianne's going home. And Marianne's idol and Marianne's extra vote is to help us, the Taco tribe, stay strong. So why wouldn't you tell Drea to write Tori's name down? Or let's bring Tori in, and it'll be me, you, and Tori to vote Drea out. And that way she does go out. And then we'll put one vote on Tori, so that if Drea does play her idol, Tori goes home. No, Jonathan says, I don't trust Tori. Drea and her are working together. I don't care what anybody says. And Lindsay's like, no, they're not. They don't like each other. They've been gunning for each other. Even though they came from the same tribe, they've been gunning for each other since day one. And Jonathan's just not hearing it. No, this is my plan. This is the way it's going to go. Blah, blah, blah. And Lindsay's like, but you're not listening to me. And so they end up having the little argument. And Lindsay's frustrated because he's barking orders. Marianne's frustrated because she feels like he's barking orders. He's talking to her like a child. Jonathan came out very aggressive in this episode. And, in his confessionals, he says, well, I can't come out being, the big, strong male and leading the tribe and all that because that puts a target on my back. But the second it's him and 4 women, he wants to come out all aggressive. He wants to put his, now he can play the game. Now he can put his gameplay into motion. I just thought, I lost some respect for Jonathan on that. My thinking is if him and Lindsay are ride or die, him and Lindsay should have discussed what was going to happen and then go from there. Plain and simple. But that's not how it went. So, the first tribal, I was really shocked that Roxroy was voted out. I honestly thought that they would go with the plan and get Romeo out. And I thought Hai had to have flipped. But then we saw at the end, Mike voted Roxroy out too. So I don't know what it was Hai said to Roxroy, or Hai said to Mike to get him to change his mind, because Mike was very adamant. We can't do this because if we do this, it makes us look disloyal to the rest of our alliance when we get back to camp. So I'm curious to find out how in the world Omar and Hai got that vote flipped like they did, which all they needed was 3 anyway. They could have voted Roxroy out and Mike could have voted for Romeo like planned. So I'm curious as to what Hai said to Mike to make him change his mind. Second tribal council. They come in and they are all shocked when they see Roxroy sitting over in the jury pool. Every one of them has a shocked, like, what the hell just happened look on their face. Except for Tori. Tori's grinning ear to ear because she doesn't like Roxroy. She's wanted him out. So now he's out. Even though she didn't have anything to do with it, she's happy. But everybody else seemed very shocked. Drea immediately, her whole demeanor just melted, is the only way that I can say it. She put her head down. She was just in shock. And the discussion goes to I'm struggling with the right words to say because I know I'm going to get backlash no matter how I put my opinion out there for this. I will start out by saying I am a white woman. I have no idea what black women or black men go through on a daily basis, what goes through their mind. I don't know. I haven't lived those experiences that they have. So therefore, I don't have the same mindset, or not even mindset, but I don't have those experiences. So I'm not going to speak on those experiences. I'm going to speak on game. This is my take on Survivor. I'm going to cover it from a game perspective. Immediately, Drea says, I'm sitting here and I'm looking over there, and there's 2 black people or 2 people of color on the jury, and this is the way that it happens every time. The black people are voted out first. I have an idol. I'm not going to be the 3rd black person to be sitting over there. I'm going to play my idol. And they kind of have a discussion, and Drea says, I don't think that it's intentional biased or intentional racism, but I think that subconsciously that plays a role into why the black and brown people are voted out first. Most seasons. Now, I'm looking at this from a gamer. I'm watching the game. I'm seeing things that Drea hasn't seen. So when she's speaking from her perception and her reality. Roxroy is sitting over there because he tried to form an all-guys alliance with guys who knew that they couldn't beat him. By forming that all-guys alliance, all 4 of those women that were sitting over there at Tribal, including Drea, including Marianne, would have been voted off if Roxroy would have got his way. But Drea doesn't see that. Drea doesn't see what Roxroy's doing behind the scenes. So I think her perception of why he's sitting over there is wrong. They say, perception is reality. But that's not necessarily always true. They have their discussion. They go back and forth. Jonathan even at one point says, I resent that you're saying that it's an underlying racist bias that has them sitting over there. So you're saying that I'm racist. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously I'm racist, and I take offense to that. And Drea says, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that subconsciously I think it plays a role. So they went back and forth. Now, I've seen online, the reason I waited, because I wanted to see some different reactions to last night's episode before I spoke on it. And I've seen people say, well, Drea just did that because she knew she was going home. I don't think so. You cannot fake the emotion, the raw emotion that Drea portrayed. She was devastated that he was sitting over there. And that was her number 1. So I don't think that she did it because she thought she was going home. She had too many advantages to go home. So we knew that wasn't going to happen. Drea's not one to walk out with an idol in her pocket. She's very perceptive. She watches what goes on. She knows what's going down. So far, she's been right on the money. So I don't think it was necessarily that she was trying to guilt the other players into not voting out another black player. I don't think that's what it was. I think she was speaking from her heart, what she sees on a day-to-day basis. And like I said, I'm a white woman. I don't know what that woman goes through on a daily basis. As a white person, I can't understand how she feels. I can't say, oh, I know how you feel. Because I don't. And I never will. Yes, you can educate me. You can tell me how you feel. You can tell me why you feel that way. But I will never be able to completely comprehend how you're feeling because I haven't been there. And then we see Marianne weigh in on the discussion as well. And she says, I can't write Drea's name down. Her speech was very moving. And, she's like, I've got to stand for and with my people. And I can't write Drea's name down. And then she says, and another thing is, I'm going to play my idol. So me and Drea are not going home tonight. We're both playing our idol. And I feel like we have to play our idol. Because there's going to be people out there that are watching this that are going to be like, oh, they played the race card so they wouldn't go home. Well, you can't say that now. Because that's not why they didn't go home. They didn't go home because they played their idol. Which was very smart of Marianne to be like, I'm not even going to give you guys a topic. That's not true. And so they go back and forth. And Jeff says, well, why go through the pomp and circumstance of walking up there and voting? If you all know who you're voting for, we just say it right here. And I think he forgot about the shot in the dark. I really do. And Marianne said, well, I'm not voting for Drea. She has an idol. I have an idol. So me, Drea, and Jonathan are off limits. So it's down to Lindsay and Tori. And they all basically tell Tori that they're going to vote her out. And Jeff said, well, I guess that's that. And Tori says, well, I'm going to play my shot in the dark then. And they were like, oh yeah, there is that. It's like, well, I got to do what I got to do. And I don't understand why Lindsay didn't do the same thing because it was down to the two of them. So if Tori had won safety out of the shot in the dark, Lindsay would go home. If Lindsay won safety out of the shot in the dark, Tori would go home. I don't understand why both of them didn't play it. But Tori plays it. She prays to the gods that they're going to save her. She does not get safety, so she's voted out. So I'm sure that the next episode, we're probably going to hear some more talk as to why Romeo was voted out. Everybody's going to expect Tori to be voted out because Romeo and Tori were on the bottom. But now, that puts Marianne on the bottom with no idol. So, because she was on the bottom, it was Marianne, Tori, and Romeo. Well, now Tori's gone. I guess Romeo's still there, so so Romeo and Marianne, but still puts them on the bottom with her no idol. Now, Drea still has the knowledge is power advantage. The only person left with an idol is Mike. So if she is smart at the very next tribal council, she will ask him if he has an idol, and she will get his idol. That will give her another idol. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, and as I said earlier, I looked at the previews. I could not tell you what's going to happen next week. I was so confused. I don't know where they're going with this. We will find out on Wednesday. I can't wait. It's just Thursday, I know. But I can't wait for next week. So with that being said, tell me what you guys think about tonight's episode or last night's episode in the comments. Let's get some dialogue going. I want to know your perspective. How did you feel when the whole race conversation was happening? Have you experienced that? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments. And for today, that's all I have for you guys. So until next time, have a good night and much love.